Hello and welcome to another episode of Palette Bingo. As you've read in the title, today we are doing the Cosmic Brushes Bingo. I do have 4 palettes of them. I know they have 6 in total, I think. All pastel palette I don't own, and then I think there is a rose palette that I also don't have. But I do have the Gothic palette that came out last year. This is a 12 pan purple color story. Then we have Winter Wonderland, my favorite of my whole collection. And then we have the very popular Muse. And of course, the also very popular Serenity palette. Since this time I do have only 4 palettes, I decided to pick 2 colors out of each palette to create a look because I felt like 4 could be not enough for me. So 8 was my number to go. And now let's hop over to Makeup Free Me. I'm going to pick the shades with a random number picker and then the tutorial portion, and you know the drill and all that stuff. So if you love palette bingos, don't forget to subscribe because I'm definitely doing more of those. And now let's head over to Potato Me. Okay, let's start picking the shades, and I'm starting with the Gothic palette that has 12 shades in them. Therefore, in my random number picker, I entered now shade number 1 to 12, not shade 1 to 12. And now let's just pick a number 10. Okay. And 10 is the shade Lace. That's actually a pretty good start because it's a very neutral rosy shade. I like how this is going after 1 shade. Does this make sense? I don't know. But now let's pick number 2 and shade 9 it should be. Oh my god. Pale Moon is shade 9. So Serenity, Muse and Winter Wonderland each have 20 colors. Therefore I changed my number here to 20. And now let's pick shade number 1 from the Serenity palette. It's also number 9. Okay. Hopefully the 9 is a good number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. Oh. Okay, very interesting. The shade Spring it is. And the second shade I'm choosing, or I let choose, is again number 10. What's going on here? Can I have something else than 9 and 10, please? Number 10 is this shade called Serenity. Now let's move on with Muse. And the first shade I'm getting from Muse is number 4. Thank you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the shade Ambient it is. And the second shade I'm getting of Muse is number 5. What's going on today? They're all too close together because number 5 is this one. Oh my god, it's a dirty green. I should have just said nothing after the first shade of Gothic because I feel like because I now said, oh, that's going super well, I just get bullshit shades. So now the last Cosmic Brushes palette is Winter Wonderland. If you've seen my rankings, this is my favorite one. So actually, nothing in here could be a fail now that the number generator picks. So let's pick the first one, number 19. Ooh, a black. That's very good. And the second shade I'm getting is again 19. No, let's pick another one, number 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The shade Cold it is. So this could either be the most interesting color story of a palette ever to exist, or this is going to be a big disaster. We have pinks, we have greens, we have dirty greens, and then we have cool tone blues and blacks. So from top to bottom, we now have Lace and Pale Moon from the Gothic palette. Then we have Spring and Serenity from Serenity. Then we have Ambient and Filigree from Muse, and In the Moment and Cold from Winter Wonderland. So this is definitely going to be a challenge, so let's start. I'm honest with you, I'm very like idealess what to do with this color story, kind of. This is going to be a challenge. Maybe something from green towards the blue. I mean, the black is easy to incorporate, not gonna lie here. But what to do with this mauve color? Okay, I'm starting with the green one. And let me just look that up because I've written all that down. That is the shade Spring from Serenity. And I start with this shade in the inner part of my crease. And I just take this to the center, like that. It's funny how the shade translates completely different with a brush compared to the pan and the swatch that I made. I'm now heading into the Muse palette and use Filigree. And I apply this starting in the center, blending outwards and a bit inwards. I want to have a gradient going on from that light spring color to that green, the filigree one. I mean, both are greens. I tap back into the spring color from Serenity and I just go over this a bit. I'm now tapping into the shade Cold from Winter Wonderland. And I apply this here on the outer part. And I kind of wing it out a bit, but not really, if you know what I mean. I just want to create this wing-like shape here. I'm now tapping into the shade Serenity from the Serenity palette. And I do apply this here on the outer part. And whatever is left on the brush, I slightly tap inwards to the center. Next up, I'm going into Ambient from the Muse palette. And I do fill the rest in with this shade. Okay, I'm tapping now into the shade Into the Moment, which is our black. That is probably very handy for this look. I'm honest with you, I really don't like how this turns out, but that's the fun of a palette bingo. So I take that In the Moment shade and I do slightly press this into the lower lash line. And I also bring it up here and flick it in, but I don't want to create like a wing. I just want to deepen this lash line part out here. And whatever is left, I kind of stroke the right word. I swish it towards the inner part. I'm now going into the Lace shade from the Gothic palette, and I use this to blend out the black starting on this inner part and bringing it outwards. So one shade is left, Pale Moon, and this is going to be my inner corner highlight, of course. So I apply this here, bringing it slightly down and into the crease. I went in with a second layer because I kind of want to build this up. It's a very translucent shade. And I will also apply this as Brow Bone highlight. Okay, this is now the finished look with the Cosmic Brushes bingo that we did. And I'm honest with you, I couldn't dislike this more. I think this is a horrible eye look. I mean, I kind of winged it. I was able to include everything, but for example, I don't think that this blue shimmer was really the vibe. If this was a green, that would have changed everything, or the blue outer corner matte that I used, maybe that one fucked it up, but that's the thing of a bingo, and I do have to check constantly in the mirror. I mean, there is something with this look that makes this kind of cool, but then there is just something that makes me feel very clownish. Like I'm not comfortable in this look. Let's just say that. It does not give me a confidence boost. But that's basically it. I had a lot of fun doing this and I just can't stress it enough how good Cosmic Brushes are. These palettes are really, really stunning. Although I have to admit, to me, Serenity and Muse both are kind of this year on a kind of a long-term chopping block, not for quality reasons, mainly for color story reasons, because this muted forest palette is just not my vibe. I am not the biggest fan of those greens, of those dirty colors. This one, the Serenity one, I like better than Muse, so I kind of want to make up my mind until the end of the year when it's declutter time again and maybe get rid of some that just do not spark the same excitement as, for example, the Gothic palette does. I mean, this palette, this is just a tiny 12 pen palette, and I do have Purple Color Stories, like, I don't know, at least 20 different ones here in my collection do have Purple Color Stories to them. But there is just something super special in this palette that makes me really happy looking at this. And I haven't even touched every single shade in here. But this is just a palette that sparks so much more joy than Muse or Serenity does. And I don't think that I have to say anything about Winter Wonderland. This was my #1 in 2023. And I still get super happy and excited when I see this. So let me know in the comments down below, what would you have done different with this color story? Or is this maybe even a color story where you'd be like, oh, if this was in an 8-pan palette, I would totally buy this. I for sure wouldn't. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Have I mentioned this already? I have no clue, but I hope I can see you in the next one. Oh, and let me know what brand you want to see palette bingos of next. Some of the suggestions were to use, for example, one of the big Beauty Bay palettes and do palette bingo in only one palette. That's noted down. Just let me know what you would like to see.